Hello guys and welcome back. So this is part 14 of my making Ashamane cosplay video series. I am going to show you how I get to this point of my gauntlets and then also the back of the hand part, but it won't stay on my hand without being glued. These guys are also kind of falling off because I do have gloves that go underneath these and they will be glued on in the next part where I work on these. So yeah. But yeah, I'm doing these from the point that I'm cutting them out, and I'm showing you how I'm doing the gloves too, to the point that I plasti dip them. I do plasti dip them off screen though, but that's pretty, it's like spray paint. So yeah. But yeah, I do show you how you get all of these guys to this point, and there are going to be two different videos on making the gauntlets completely. This part is, like I said, doing all this. And the next part where I'm working on gauntlets will be painting them and assembling them. I'm going to completely paint them and seal them and all of that before I actually connect them to the gloves because I don't want to get paint on my gloves. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm starting off by making the gloves. All I did was trace my hand onto the fabric and then kind of roughly cut it out. I didn't cut between the fingers or anything yet. And then flipped it over onto another piece of fabric and pinned it down. Then I also rolled the edges down to hem the edges. So I'm going to hem the ends first, just because it's a very small opening and it won't fit over my machine if I do it last. So I'm going to hem the edges first, then repin these corners, and then just sew all the way around to get back to this end. And then I would trim off all this extra fabric and separate the fingers of scissors after that, so that I get this. So all the fingers are free now. And while it was like this, actually before I cut it out, I had sewn it but it wasn't cut out yet, I went ahead and tried it on and it fit. That way if something was wrong I could take out stitches and adjust. So once I realized that it fit, I went ahead and turned it off, and then I can turn it right side out. Once it's right side out and I put it on, it will look just like this. It might seem like I have two left gloves cut out, or yeah. But it's because there's no front and back to these gloves, not yet. So it didn't really matter how I traced them out. It won't matter, it didn't matter while I sewed it. The only time it's going to matter is when I get the little 2mm foam armor pieces on here. Then there will be a certain side for each glove. But for right now, it doesn't matter which one I put on. This does go up about a third of the way up my forearm. That way it reaches just underneath my bracer. I have these little sleeve type deals I'll be wearing, and these will slip over top of those to make it like a seamless look. I wanted these gloves to be detachable and not part of the sleeves. That way whenever I eat I can take off my gloves, I have to use the bathroom, I don't have to get half naked like I do with the Diva bodysuit and such. So this will make doing regular old things easy to do because I can just slip these off. Especially whenever you see what my armor pieces for the gauntlets will look like. I'm not really going to be able to do much with my hands anyway. They're going to be claws. So let's get on to the foam pieces. I'm going to be using 2mm foam like I used for the detail pieces on this. It's not craft foam, but a very good 2mm EVA foam, so you can actually sand it down. I can make small beveled edges. It'll be very short, but I can. So yeah, let's move on to that. Alright, so I wanted to show real quick how it looks with the bracer on there, and then also my paper patterns that I made here. So I did reuse some of the knuckle pieces for other fingers, same thing with the claws. I think I used the middle finger one, or maybe it was the ring finger one for my thumb. So all I did was take my 2mm foam and my patterns, and I traced them out with a Sharpie, and I made sure to mark what was for what finger, because it does get kind of confusing. They're very similar, but they do fit differently. And then same thing with the little knuckle pieces. So I'm referring to these as claw pieces and knuckle pieces just to make it easy. And then also the back of the hand pieces. So for each finger, they get one claw and one knuckle, and it's just one layer of 2mm foam. Each hand, though, the back hand piece gets 3 layers of 2mm foam that I stack together. I only showed tracing out 2 because I was going to do 2, and then I decided that was too thin, and I cut out some more off screen. But yeah, that's the back of the hand. Is a little weird. kind of boxy shapes right there. I'm cutting out right here. So yeah, I'm going to do with a regular straight cut on these guys here, just like normal. I'm using an X-Acto knife there, but on the claws and on the knuckles, I'm doing beveled edges, at least for most of the edges. So, because I kind of wanted it to round off a little bit to get those sharp points on the edges. But I did make the mistake at first and had to redo these couple right here. Where the pieces bend around to connect, you don't want to do beveled edge. I did that at first, and then they don't glue together, so I had to recut them out. So make sure those edges are flat, not beveled where they touch. And the parts that touch are those little skinny wing areas on the side you'll see here later. So yeah, there was a lot of pieces. What was it? Finger pieces, there was 10 per finger. 10 claws total, 10 knuckles total, and then 6 back of the hand pieces total. But those got glued together. Oh, and then I also had the bottom parts of the claw.
Alright, so
those were separate pieces.
On these guys, these will be for the palm, so they'll go, the back of the hand. They'll go over my back of my hand. They don't have beveled edges or anything, and I decided I need to cut more of these out. Originally, I just wanted 2 pieces, but I decided I want to do 3 to stack on top of each other. These are only 2mm foam, so I decided I wanted to be thicker, so I want 2 pieces just to be the base, and then I want a 3rd piece to be what my design will be carved into. So I haven't traced out that yet, but so yeah, I originally only cut out 4, but I need to cut out 2 more, so 3 will be for one, and then I need to cut out 2 more for my other hand. I had a little oopsie cutting out these first ones here. So these pieces, these are the actual claw pieces, and these are the knuckle pieces. You can see if you look around here, oh, this side. I beveled one in one direction and one in the other direction, so that's wrong. So I'm going to recut that. If you look at these ones I just did, it's beveled that direction. So like the top is shorter than the bottom, if we can focus, towards this side, which is the side that goes towards the knuckle, and then on this side, which is the side that goes towards like my fingernail, it's beveled underneath, so the top is longer than the bottom. And the reason for that is, I've already done a couple of these here, is I'm going to be cutting out another piece, and I want to lay flat against this, so that made these being beveled under like that. Focus camera. Makes it so that these sit flat. So then I'm going to cut out another flat piece to be underneath this to go underneath my finger. So this is actually for my middle finger, so it's a bit too big for this one, but so my finger will go in here like this, and then there'll be a bottom piece that goes under there too. And then I'll just use my Dremel to smooth out any edges. I'm going to use my Dremel to smooth out these and even them up too. Kind of round them too. I don't want quite that sharp of a point because that just got me started. Oh, and then these little areas right here, I just cut straight. They're not beveled at all. Same thing with the palms. I didn't bevel at all. The designs will have some beveling, but we're not there yet. And let's see. Oh, these were the ones that messed up too. So these are the knuckle pieces, and I forgot and beveled every edge. So these parts are the parts that touch. So they'll curl around and touch, and I have another like this. But if I don't leave that flat, then they don't glue together. So I want these beveled outwards so the top's shorter than the bottom, because I'm going to round that off a little bit later. So otherwise these were right, I just forgot and beveled out, and I don't really want to shorten them any. I could have just cut that off, but instead I'm just going to cut out new pieces, I think. I might play around with them. I mean, that wouldn't be a lot to take off. That'd be only like 2 millimeters on each side. So I mean, I don't think that'd be very noticeable. Maybe I'll try that and see. But if not, then I will cut new ones out. That's fine. So there's that. And then also my thumb pieces I cut out, I had them originally the same size as the middle finger, but that made this piece like super long, and this one too. These are just way too long now that they're on. When I did my paper patterns, it worked, but now that I have the foam pieces and they're thicker, it just doesn't sit back far enough. So I think what I'm going to do is use my index pattern instead, which is smaller. Do this one hand. It's not working. I have to make some adjustments, but I think that fits on there a little better. And these will be glued to the gloves, so I don't have to worry about what direction they're sitting. And then I think I'll still have to make that smaller, but this is how they're going to be on my fingers, and then when I bend my fingers down, that will bend with it. But I think that might still be a little too long, because I don't want the thumbs to be as long as the fingers, because that would look weird. So I'll play around with those, but it's kind of the same sort of pattern type deal. I also thought about just doing this part and not the knuckle part on my thumb. I mean, it's covering up that much anyway, but I feel like I do need something just below that. And then this part sets, which it will be rounded, but it's going to sit in this area. So then the knuckles will just come up to them a little bit, or even, I think it's going to go past them just a little bit, but I'll be fine. So they will be something like this. So touching. Yeah, they'll be something like this, and then these guys will be on the fronts. Like that sort of, but they'll be overlapping. So that's what we're going with. I'm about to show doing this part. So I'm going to use my Dremel. So you could just do little trenches if the X-Acto knife or your box cutter, but since this is only 2mm foam, every time I try that with foam this thin, I cut it in half. So instead, what I do, let's see here, is I fold them in half backwards like this, and then I use popsicle sticks to kind of hold it flat, and I just run my Dremel back and forth across it till it's pretty thin in that area, and then I fold it back over the opposite way, which is the right way, and we'll get that little crease in there. And then I'm just filling them with hot glue in here just because I want them to sit like, you know, like this with my fingers, but before they were wanting to sit like that along the top of my fingers like this, but that hot glue in there is kind of kicking up the back up a little bit. Probably could have done it in a different way, but that's what's working for me at the moment. I found that to be the easiest. And then I cut these guys out here. These are what I'm going to try out to be the bottoms. So it's also going to pull these in, because right now they're kind of sticking out a little bit. This will make them sit a little skinnier when I glue them onto foam. I'm going to use these paper patterns for the foam. I just pinched them the way that I wanted them, traced them out on paper, and then labeled them for what finger they go to. So it'll be a bottom, except it's not going to go I have it going all the way up right now, but my fingers, where my knuckles are, it starts to bend about ½ an inch up. So I'm going to have to trim those down a little bit. But I'll play with those and see how it goes. And then the fingers turned out fine. The only thing is, since it's quite curved here, I had to use my quilting clips, these guys, to clip on overnight. I left them on overnight because I did these parts right before I went to bed. But the normal dry time, I set them on there and they started to separate again. Like I have a little bit of a gap just in the top here, so I might give them a little coat of something else. Just to kind of keep them in there. But yeah, same thing on these. I bent these pieces back the opposite direction down the middle, dremeled across it, bend it back the right direction, and then I got that crease. And then I think I've been putting just a tiny bit of glue in here. I did the thumb and the first finger, but I think I actually don't need to do that. We'll see, because I want to make sure I have points that I can glue onto the gloves. So basically I'm trying to fill in this gap a little bit so I have something for the glue to touch onto. And then I might put a skinny piece, a thin piece of foam in there as well. We'll see, but now I'm going to finish cutting these pieces out that I messed up off camera, and then I'm going to show you how I did the dremeling and gluing for these guys. Oh, and when I folded them back over, before I folded them back the right way, I put contact cement in there, let it dry till it wasn't tacky anymore, and then pinched them down so we got that crease, and then I started going back in there with the glue here, layering it up to kind of help fill in the gaps, like I said, so they sit right. I think I have that in all of these. So yeah, I'm going to go cut the rest of these out off screen that I messed up, and the rest of these guys, and then I'll record doing the dremeling and gluing to get them to this point that these guys are at, and then we'll start playing with these and the design parts of these.
Okay guys, I know that was a lot of explaining there, but I really wanted to help you guys figure this out as well. It did take me several tries to get these right, and when I was showing little sneak peeks on Facebook and Instagram, I had people asking me how I did it, so I wanted to make sure I explained this very well. So as I said there a minute ago, I'm just folding these in half the opposite direction of what they will be, dremeling them over to create a little trench so we get that nice little crease down the center. I'm using popsicle sticks to help me keep it folded all the way down. So here, which you can't see very well, sorry about that, I'm just using a popsicle stick to rub contact cement into those little trenches now. And I'm going to let those dry for about probably 20 minutes or so. I just don't really time it, I just keep touching them every once in a while. And if it's still tacky, it's not ready. So then once they're ready, I'm folding them in half. The little knuckle pieces, like I said, they go in a circle and I just try to pull away. So I'm using my quilting clips to pinch those down and hold them in place and leave them like that for a couple hours. And then, so I did that with all of the knuckle pieces, all of the claws. And then I also need to do that with the back of the hand pieces. It's going to be 3 layers, but I'm going ahead and gluing the 2 base layers together because they don't really get anything fancy through them. And now so I said I had beveled those edges. Now I'm using the Dremel to round off the edges because I didn't want them to really be beveled looking. I wanted them to look like they came to a sharp point. Plus leaving it rounded a little bit kind of helps with that metallic paint, really put some shine on those edges. So I am making these look like metal, so I want to be shine in all these little sharp areas. So I did, right here I'm adjusting those bottom of the claw patterns. Like I said, they went too far back. I want to be able to bend my fingers, even though I can't use my hands much with these on. So yeah, these, just cut them out. I'm beveling them so that they're shorter on the top side than the bottom side, so that when I glue them onto the bottom of the claw, which is what I'm putting glue on right now, contact cement one, it makes a flat surface. So that's what I'm doing with those now. And here you can see I'm gluing them together now. I'm just pinching them real hard all around the edges and then put them off to the side to dry. Here I'm kind of trying on a couple to see how it's going. And I'm just going across all the other ones and making sure they're all on there good and all that. Gluing them together. And I'm sorry if there's a bunch of sound in the background. Hallie is very energized at the moment. It's like she's like, oh, you're doing something. Let me like rattle everything in the room. So I ran into a slight issue. They fit my fingers, but once I put my gloves on, the knuckle pieces don't fit anymore. At least not all of them. So I decided that I'm just going to snip the centers and add in a little square of foam on the bottom sides, which I'm showing you here. I'm going to clip as close to the glue as I can, cut that piece out, and then I'm going to add more just to make it wider underneath, kind of how you'd like expand a ring. And then I'll just glue those little squares in there and sand them and everything to blend in. So I'm going to show that a little bit. So yeah, a little awkward. My gloves are really thin, so I didn't think that was going to be an issue, but apparently it was enough of an issue. So yeah, here I'm going to show you how much I have to add to the pinky, which is like half an inch, I think. Almost. I think it's like 3/8 of an inch. It's quite a bit, and then I think I had to add a little bit to the ring finger too, but the other fingers were fine. So at least I didn't have to do it to all the fingers, but I did a couple of them. So here I'm just showing those sanded edges. the claw piece glued together but not sanded yet. So I trim up those edges a little bit, round them off a bit, make it look neater. And here I'm showing how I'm sanding again around those knuckle pieces. So I rigged up this little bit. I cut up a box and used hot glue to make a little stand, and then I used stick pins. So I'm going to sacrifice 8 of them and stick them through the bottom and up to the top, so I can stick these little pieces on here for plastic dip and spray paint. So I could start doing that. So yeah, all these finger pieces, the knuckle pieces are all ready for plastic dip and such. I still have to do the palm pieces, which I have over here. I'm going to decide how I want to carve these bits in, the little design pieces. So I'm going to carve these out and then I'm going to glue them on. So I'm actually going to heat seal these real quick. I'm not going to do that on camera. So mostly because this area where I like to film in, the heat gun has been setting off my fire alarm if I do it in this area where I record, and I'm in an apartment, so that sets off everyone else's fire alarm. So I'm going to do it in another area, but it's just going around everything, around all the edges, the heat gun, just to warm it up and heat seal. And then I'll be ready to go, and I will plastic dip it, and they'll be ready for paint. But we're going to work on these as well. And real quick, I wanted to do a little fitting test. Now obviously these aren't glued on. I'm waiting until they're completely plastic dip, painted, sealed, and all that before we will connect them on there. But they all fit right, other than my fingers are slipping off because they're not connected, but they will be glued on. And then, as I showed before, one of these guys will be in the back of my hand. Keep falling off. Yeah, so the bottoms I'm not super worried about. They do look a little funky, but the front paws are flat on the bottom for the Panther's paw armor, so I wanted to do as close to while doing a human version, I wanted to keep it as close to the original as possible, so this is what I'm going with. I will be able to move my fingers and grab things, and once they're glued on, they won't fall off like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy how these are. I don't know if I'm going to glue these down or not. I think I like them like that. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, so now that I have all the claws and knuckle pieces ready, it's time to work on those back of the hands. So I had already glued 2 of the 3 pieces for each hand together. Now I'm working on that last final piece. It's going to be the top layer that has the design in it. I did kind of play around with how I wanted to do this. I decided to paint in most of the design, but I did want the edges to be raised and beveled. So I'm kind of using the foam itself as like a little stencil. So I'm going over with Sharpie and pushing down on the other side before the Sharpie dries. That way I'm getting things symmetrical, kind of making a little stamp out of it. So here I'm beveling so that the bottom side is longer than the top side, so it's slanting down towards the center. Do all the pieces, then I use my Dremel to smooth out the edges. So just, take some time. Here I'm doing that other side too. And again, I'll sand that too. so here I am with the back of the hand pieces so far. Yeah, so I believe I'm going to start gluing things together. Yep, so here I am putting contact cement onto the little cutout pieces, and then I'll kind of go around the main piece in the same areas as well. And as I said before, I'll wait until the stuff isn't even tacky anymore before I stick them together. So I'll show that here in a moment. So yeah, and again I'm using popsicle sticks like I did in the last video, just to make sure it doesn't stick together in the wrong places. So I think we're looking good so far. I do have more sanding to do, which we're going to do now. I'm going around the edges. I'm making them just flat and smooth, as you could see there a second ago, and kind of here too. Each of the 3 layers are kind of noticeable. They're not lined up exactly. I got pretty close though, so here I'm just using my Dremel to really smooth out those edges. So yeah, that's going to take a second. But yeah, I'm not doing bevels or anything. They're going to be flat, just regular old flat edges. On the first set, I forgot to do quick seal around the edges because even after I finished sanding them, it's still kind of noticeable through the paint, but not that much. But I decided with the second back of the hand piece to do quick seal to fill in those gaps. It does look better. So here I'm heat forming it. Like I said, I want it to curve around the hands, so that's what I'm doing. And after I painted them, I had to do it a little bit again. It started to fall flat. I think I was pushing on it too hard while I was painting on the design. So with it heat formed, this is how we're looking so far with our plastic dipped knuckles. Like I said, we're going to get ready to paint these soon, but not in this video. It'll be in the, not next, but the following video. The next video is painting the shoulders, the following video is painting these hands. And like I said, here I'm doing the quick seal on my second one, since I've remembered that. And if you're not familiar with using quick seal, you can use water to smooth out the edges and really blend things in, because I make a mess of the stuff, so I keep water handy. So lots of that. But yeah, I just fill in these little gaps.
I use that water to water it down and smooth it out. I'm going to go over a couple spots where I'm getting some water droplets. I did forget to do this on the other hand. So all the other pieces except for this one have been plasti dipped. I do have a few pieces that need a couple more coats. So these guys are all done. And all of these are ready to paint. These have to dry a little longer. These have to dry a while, but they're ready to paint too. And then these guys up here need one more coat. So I don't really want to take this off here, but I did forget to use the quick seal on this, and I don't know if it's going to pick up, but just barely you can see seams from where I used 3 layers of the 2mm foam here. So I wanted to use quick seal to smooth that out. It's not super noticeable, and I'm sure once I add another coat of the plasti dip, it's not going to be really noticeable, but I thought just in case I could do it to this one anyway. And I don't mind these seams in here too much, because it kind of goes with what I'm doing. So yeah, that's everything ready to paint. So the next video, again, I'm not for sure which yet, but at this point I'm ready to paint both the gauntlets and the shoulder pieces. So the next video will either be gauntlets being painted or the shoulders being painted. And then the following video will be the other one. So the next 2 videos are painting, so we can get these done. Oh, and whenever I paint these guys is when I'm going to assemble them. I'm going to wait until they're completely done, painted and dried and everything, and then I will assemble them. So I'll do that in the painting video as well. Same thing with the shoulder pieces. I'm painting them before I add all the straps and lights and doodads, but I am going to do that at the end of the painting video for that. So that will be it. Thank you for watching this part. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it showed you something helpful. Oh gosh, I can't talk today. If you want to keep up with my little bits of work here and there as I work, I always do this little stuff, photos and little snippets of videos and such on my Instagram, which will be linked below. I will have the plasti dip 2mm foam, which is the high density, linked below too. Quick seal is just what I got at Walmart. And then my contact cement, I actually recommend Barge. I'm not using Barge though, but you can find that online. So I think that's everything for this video, just plasti dip, foam, quick seal, and contact cement. Oh, and that fabric. I got that fabric from Joann's. I believe it was the Performance Sports spandex. It's 4-way stretch knit-like spandex material.
So yeah, I have all those done. Just gotta wait for this to dry before it can get plastered up. And I need to touch up these little droplets. And then those guys on that little cardboard table thing I made to spray on, that needs one more coat. So is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I talk in the next video. Yeah, we'll get to painting next. Thank you.